Good night, and welcome to Mindful Live 511. I'm your host, Nathan Springer. Thank you for being here. Blessed night, just Ada. That's a very touching topic, Leila says. Yeah. It is. Once you're on the inside, hit that like button. If you are looking at this over on YouTube, double tap the screen over there on TikTok. That's how you hit the like button out there. Let's jump into some of these stories. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following all that good stuff over there. Nathan Springer on YouTube if you're looking for me out there. It's been a while, people. It's been a while. I was out for many varying different reasons, but good to be back. Nice to see y'all or talk to y'all. What's been in the news? I saw this very tragic story with the boy Joshua Francois, and as I said, and as I regularly say with many of these stories, I don't delve very deeply into them because I think the bandwidth of my emotions can only handle that much, and I don't know how much there is to learn as it were from those stories. Like sometimes my wife would be there telling me, and you know what happened, and I'm like, I think I've had enough. I've heard enough. I don't need any more. Like certain headlines, I read the news every day basically. I like reading the news. It's nearly a hobby for me. That's why I do this. A lot of this live started basically, I was reading the news and I turned on the live. And I turned on the live as I read the news. So I read the news nearly every day. And just some of those stories, I just see the headline and next. Are we discussing CPEP? Well, we can. What is there to discuss in CPEP? That there is no legal case to be made against CPEP. That now the DPP is in hands with, has his hands on some of the issues regarding CPEP. We'll see how that all goes. But what's there to discuss about CPEP? I just say, Lord, take control. Sometimes these things can make us lose ourselves. Yes, they certainly can. And I know that's why I don't put too much mind to it. I know it's something that if your mind gets wrapped up in it, your mind really gets wrapped up in it. And prayers out to the parents. Tough. Condolences. Like, I think someone invented the word condolences because there really isn't a whole lot you could say. There aren't much other phrases and terms you could say to a loss as such. Like, sorry, not quite. I feel for you. Do you really? Condolences. What do condolences mean? Just exactly that. What is exactly that? That, what you needed to mean at this very moment, condolences to you. Because, bro, I could talk, and I really had the words. Well, hundreds of low-income folks out of a job. Is it hundreds or is it thousands? If I recall correctly, it would be thousands. And that's a horrible thing. It's a terrible thing. It is the way politics is run in this country. Now, if we're looking to this administration to do something better at Athletes After Dark, I don't know. I don't know why I wasn't. I don't know. I'm not too sure where that is. Yeah, if we're looking for this administration to do something progressively to the future, as they say they're hoping to do, they're looking to fix things and help things and all of that good stuff. If indeed that's what we're looking for them to do, then I'd hope that they do something to remove CPEP from underneath the government purview, so that next time around, when politics changes, everyone doesn't lose their job. But I don't see a scenario where a government wants to change that, where you have a gift card of employment for thousands of lower income people, a gift card of contracts for your middlemen in your party, and a whip of the threat of a loss of job come election time to whip these people back with. Yeah, but I told us it's been a while, about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks to a month, somewhere around there. But I'm back, I'm here in flesh. Well, in virtual flesh. Ramlal Ram Sundar, good night to you, sir. Oh, Shazam. A whole month rent's due, paying. CCC is a good model to start. I don't have a problem with many of those things. And CCC, to me, from most of what I learned and read about CCC, it wasn't a terrible thing. It seemed like CCC was run with a fairly good vision. The problem with a lot of those programs is that they are government led. So while yes, they do help people, when governments change, the people that they help will change too. That's just the reality. And I mean, would this government feel a consequence for it? We will see. We shall see. Let's see what's in some of the news today. Stand your ground law. Let's see what it needs to be passed. Alahar, government needs public support for stand your ground law. Leader of government business in the Senate, Daryl Alahar, says government may have a challenge when it comes to passing stand your ground legislation because of the 3/5 majority needed to do so. Good night to all of you over on YouTube. He made the comment during a public consultation at Debe Junction on August 5th. Allah said, we have a few detractors, but we don't want to give the detractors any ammunition to detract from the conversation. He added, you have certain elements who don't want this thing to change. The legislation will not be an easy road because we need to get a 3/5 majority in both houses in Parliament. A 2/3 majority in the House of Representatives means 27 votes. The UNC has 26 votes in the House. Opposition PNM has 13 and the Tobago People's Party has 2. The TPP is expected to vote with the UNC whenever the bill comes to Parliament. Prime Minister Kamala Prasad-Biswaso has said the legislation would come to Parliament in September. However, it may not be dealt with before the presentation of the 2025-2026 budget, which should happen in September, shortly after the Parliament returns from its mid-year recess. Now, here's an issue I think I see right here. To get out of the lower house, to get out of the House of Representatives, they need 27 votes. The UNC has 26. Now, there seems to be an understood partnership between the Tobago People's Party and the United National Congress here in Trinidad and Tobago. However, a massive part of what the Tobago People's Party would be looking for and looking forward to would have to come out of that budget come September. Remember, the Tobago Party has been for years now wanting more money. A while now, Tobago has been wanting more money out of the yearly budget. And if they vote for this headline legislation of the United National Congress comes in after the budget, then I suppose the Tobago People's Party would be looking forward to that budget and seeing what exactly that budget gives. Farley sees budget challenge for government. Of course he does. As the ruling United National Congress marks its 100 days in government, Chief Secretary of the THE, Farley Gustin, believes the administration has done well. He wants to see more being done, however. I think Mr. Augustine is looking forward to the budget. While Augustine did not rate the government, he sees a challenge. The biggest challenge would come up in about September, when the Minister of Finance would have to bring a budget, and how that budget can be balanced, if at all it can be balanced, and how we can deliver to the people. Certainly for us as a THA, we are awaiting that time as well. That would determine what we are able to provide for the people of Tobago. And so we just have to keep working with the government, applying pressure where pressure needs to be applied, of course. But I think if the Prime Minister continues with her assertiveness, forthrightness in achieving her manifesto promises, then the country should be happy, Augustine said. So applying pressure where they need to apply a pressure, of course. That's what they forecast they would have to do around that budget time. So it would be an interesting time. It would be. The UNC seems intent on giving a lot of goodies to Trinidad. The TPP wants and has been asking for a long time now for a bigger budget for Tobago. The UNC needs the Tobagonians to vote with them in Parliament to get their signature bills passed. Success Factory says, do you believe Stand Your Ground will help with home invasion? I've said this many times before, many times before. The problem in Trinidad as it stands right now is not with Stand Your Ground. Stand Your Ground works well around allowing more firearms into the society. But by and large, generally speaking, no one in Trinidad had issue with bandits coming into their house, them defending themselves, and then struggling in court to defend themselves again afterwards. That generally doesn't happen in Trinidad and Tobago, and that's where Stand Your Ground really comes in. Stand Your Ground means after you deal with the bandit in self-defense, the courts can't really do you much. That's what Stand Your Ground really is about. We aren't at that juncture. The problem is getting the license for the firearm. So Stand Your Ground doesn't change that. Now, the reality is, as it seems was the case back when Double G was commissioner, a lot of how easy it is to get firearms into the hands of the law-abiding public in Trinidad and Tobago really depends on the commissioner. So, and it seems, I don't know this to be a fact, but just the talk and the vibes that is given off thus far, it seems like the present commissioner seems to be walking in tandem with the ruling government. So if he's working along with the ruling government, and the ruling government basically sends out the mandate that we are okay with releasing the stringency on allowing more licensed firearms, then it's really up to the commissioner. It's really, the commissioner is the bottleneck in our process. So while that means there isn't a right to a firearm, you can't just go and buy a firearm just so easily. You have to go through the police. It also means that if someone knows how to get the commissioner to do what they want, it's easy to actually solve that issue at the same time. So, but as I said, Stand Your Ground isn't the main issue right now in Trinidad and Tobago. It will become an issue if there are more firearms and more defensive uses of the firearm. It may become an issue, but generally it isn't. I don't think it's really up to the DPP, and I don't think our DPP is the kind that is going to be chomping at the bit to prosecute people over defending themselves at home. So stand your ground. I don't know that it's going to do a whole heaping deal in home invasion. So the access to firearms, however, will have that effect. I saw Kelvin earlier saying that people have to do their research about the stand your ground and stuff, and I hear a lot of pro PNM voices saying that, and listening to I-95 I hear it sometimes, and there's a tone that gets in there where it gets a racial tinge about stand your ground, and like if the black people have to worry about the stand your ground, and to me that sounds like racism on the other side. Like, what do you mean black people have to watch out if people are getting more serious about protecting their properties? Are you suggesting that black people are the kind that violate people's property rights more often? Is that your suggestion? Why would black people be worried about that? I am not worried about someone willing to shoot somebody who enters their property illegally, because I have no interest in entering anyone's property illegally. So that's not really something that's in a high level of worry to me. I have no problem with increasing what someone is able to do in protection of their own property. Their own property. Like I heard the brouhaha a week or so ago about something about people shooting in the back and all of that. But to me, I don't even have a problem with that. If a man sneak up on you while you hiding behind a bush and he give you a sneak attack, but you're in his land, more power to the man. I think all the advantage someone wants to get could be theirs in their property. If you don't want to get whatever advantage someone has, don't go in their property. Leave people thing alone. Simple like that for me. Simple like that. I don't get the worry some people have about that. What is the worry? Do you often find yourself mistakenly rummaging through other people's property? Do you often find yourself mistakenly trying to open people's windows at 1 o'clock in the morning? Mistakenly? Oops, whoops, I didn't mean to. Like, what are you talking about? I don't get that. But that's in the lower house where they need the TPP support. So in order for this stand your ground legislation to pass out of the House of Representatives, they need to get at least one vote from the TPP, from Tobago, after the budget. So let's see if the UNC is still in the good graces of the TPP post-budget, because that's when they're going to need that vote very likely. 2, in the Senate, a 3/5 majority means 19 votes. Government has 15 votes in the Senate. The opposition has 6, and the independents have 9. So they're going to need 4 votes from either the PNM, which is highly unlikely, or from the independent bench. So I think that's partially why the UNC has already begun softening up the independent senators. They have already started to, send the early skirmishing shots against the independent senators, because they want them on the back foot by the time this legislation comes down the pike and they have to vote on this. They don't want them too much on the negative to the government. They want them to be thinking twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times before voting against the government in such a thing. So they want to soften up those independent senators. And they do have a point, because although the independent senators are labeled independent senators, rightfully, truthfully, they indeed are appointed by our president, and our president is indeed appointed by the prime minister, and it was the last prime minister basically that appointed the president. So by and large, we have an independent bench that was selected by independent person that was chosen by the former government. So 2 layers of independence away, it's really a PNM appointed board. 2 layers of independence away. So I could understand why the government may see it as they have to try to, already start to squeeze people onto one side or the other. The independent bench at least. What's going on in our military service though, people? What's going on in our security services? The big man in charge. Is he really in charge? Army chief's leave halted 24 hours after being sent on 605 days vacation. Less than 24 hours after Chief of Defense Staff, Air Vice Marshal Daryl Daniels sent commanding officer of the regiment, Colonel Keston Charles, on 605 days leave, the shocking decision has been rescinded. Senior military and government sources on August 10th confirmed the retroactive decision dated August 8th. On August 9th, Charles was instructed to hand over command of the troops in the 5 army camps to Lieutenant Colonel Dwayne Edwards at regiment headquarters in Port of Spain. Military sources said the publication of the decision to send Charles on extended leave during the state of emergency declared on July 18th to prevent an outbreak of violent crime, including murder, kidnapping, and other acts of gang violence targeting justice and law enforcement officers, caused an uproar in the senior ranks of the defense force. The decision also raised eyebrows as it was the second leader of a key national security agency to be sent on leave in 48 hours during the ongoing SOE, which was extended by 3 months to October 28th. During the SOE, the Army's role is significantly enhanced, with powers of arrest being bestowed upon officers. Several high-profile prisoners have also been moved from the maximum security prison, Aruka, to Army locations in Chaguaramas. On August 7th, Prisons Commissioner Carlos Carraspi was instructed to proceed on 240 days vacation leave. Homeland Minister Raja Alexander told Newsday on August 8th that this move was strategic and that Carraspi had accrued too many vacation days. Okay. Sure. He had accrued too many vacation days. So in an SOE, middle of an SOE, where some of the most pinpoint accusations are with regards to occurrences in the prisons, with all of that going on, he is sent on leave because he has too many vacation days piled up. You all believe that? Does that seem like it adds up to you? Something smells fishy there. Hardworking man. Talking about hardworking officer. Alexander Defense Corp, who issued 1,427 tickets in 6 months. Homeland Security Minister Raja Alexander has defended Police Constable Karen Sankar, who was recently recognized by the TTPS for issuing 1,427 traffic tickets between January and June this year. Sankar, a member of the Southern Team of the Highway Patrol Operations Unit, was honored at a police commendation ceremony held at the Police Administration Building in Port of Spain. Speaking at the Chaguaramas Chamber of Commerce and Industry breakfast meeting at Passage Station Thursday, Alexander responded to public criticism symbolism of the recognition. There was a ceremony at the police admin building where an officer received an award for the number of tickets issued, and some people found that offensive. They questioned why other types of crimes weren't being prioritized. But what we fail to understand is how serious these so-called simple offenses can be. These things are often overlooked, but they're a real part of crime, he said. He shared a personal example to illustrate the wider implications of traffic enforcement. Alexander recalled issuing a ticket to an elderly woman along the Eastern Main Road, only to encounter the same vehicle 2 weeks later, this time being driven by a group of young men who claimed to be mechanics. The lady was in the United States at the time, completely unaware the car had been stolen without her knowledge, he explained. Using the incident to highlight the value of traffic enforcement, Alexander said, when you think about it, those tickets are more than penalties. If that officer is doing their job and you're issued a ticket, it creates a record, one that could later serve as evidence to assist in police investigations. It's not just about road safety, it's also about building a data trail that can help solve or prevent other crimes. Listen. We need intelligent people to lead our country. What was that example? So you ticket an elderly woman, and 2 weeks later, her car was stolen. And somehow, that is evidence of tickets working. So the lady have a ticket to pay and her car gets stolen, and you use that as evidence somehow. You see, that's why it was good that we ticketed Tanti last week. What? So wait, if she didn't get the ticket, would that mean that you would not have found her car back when it was stolen? What the ticket have to do with the stolen vehicle? What's the sense in that? Where is that making sense? Kyle Boss says they beat a police in Rio Claro because of a ticket a year ago. I saw that story. That's the allegation on that story. And it's not surprising. I've said this, I've been saying this for years now. You're not going to increase and better the relationship between the police service and the public by keeping the police as glorified tax collectors on the streets. The example I regularly give is Robin Hood. Robin Hood, the bad guys in Robin Hood were the police officers giving tickets on the corner. Figuratively, they were the officers of the law collecting taxes on behalf of the law. Those were the bad guys who Robin Hood and his merry men were killing and hurting, were those guys. So it really isn't a surprise that the public doesn't hold the police in high regard when it comes to ticket issuing. Otis, stop it. But what are we doing? And here's my problem with this awarding tickets nonsense. Tickets aren't a good thing. Tickets are supposed to be a deterrent for bad behavior. Right? Okay. Let's look at examples of what deterrents for bad behavior are. Detention in school. That's a deterrent for bad behavior. Let's say I had a school that would do detention and they would make money by doing detention, because the students in detention would do some painting and stuff around the school, so they get the students to do some extra work, and as it were, they make money or save money through detention. Imagine now that school is awarding the dean or the deans based on how many students they put in detention and how long the students do detention for. Imagine a school is making money off of detention and then rewarding the deans based on how much detention they give. What do you expect is going to happen? Is detention going to remain just a deterrent for bad behavior? Or are you now incentivizing the detention givers to give out more detention than is even necessary? And there are some people out here are buying into the lies. Some people out here are buying into the lies that somehow ticket giving is tied with road safety. Trinidad's roads were safest around 2021. From 2019 somewhere there to 2021, the amount of road traffic deaths plummeted. It was the start of the enforcement of the speed limit, if we're being honest. There are two things you could enforce on our roads and stop all of the carnage, not all, but the vast majority of carnage on our roads. The speed limit, like I know, some of us like a little over 100, but the speed limit, actually enforce the speed limit, traffic accidents, fatal traffic accidents go to nearly none. 1, speed limit. Good night, Dinesh. And 2, start ticketing people for crossing the highway. There aren't supposed to be pedestrians on the highway. Over the weekend, there were 5 road deaths, and something like 3 or 4 of them were pedestrians on the highway. Come on. People walking across the highway under the walkover. What ticket to the driver is going to stop people walking across the highway, crossing the highway, using the walkover as shade? How is ticketing a driver going to stop them? What is ticketing a driver going to do to put a battle and to put a stop on the people on the highway trying to play chicken with cars? That's not doing anything. So don't buy into the lie that somehow, tickets are to make the road safer. So if you don't like tickets, that means you love people dying on the road. No. I don't want people dying on the road, but I also don't want useless tickets. And let's put some science in this. This guy gave out nearly 1,500 tickets for the first 6 months. Did we see a decrease in road traffic accidents in his region? I want to know, did the southern district of the highway in Trinidad and Tobago have 0 road deaths for the first 6 months because of the overzealous work of this one very attentive police officer? And this is why oftentimes I don't have a whole, I have respect for police, but I don't have a heaping deal of heroism thrown in the direction of people in these jobs. Because very often many of the people in these jobs are tyrants and would willingly use their power in pursuit of tyranny. These are the kind of guys, nearly any order that the senior sent them to do, they would do. Like, bro, you made 2 million for the country for them to spend on their friends' rental offices, for them to spend on their friends' CPEP gangs. You made 2 million off of your fellow law-abiding Trinis. For what? But are the tickets even issued for those types of infractions? Not really. The top 2 tickets, you could go look at it. Over 50% of the tickets given in Trinidad and Tobago, the top 2 tickets inspection sticker. Inspections and accidents have no correlation. 1. 2. Seat belts. Seat belts only endanger the driver, the person who isn't wearing the seat belt. Me not wearing a seat belt doesn't put any of you, anyone else, in more at a higher risk, in further danger. And something like 60% of our tickets are inspections and seat belts. None of those things are saving road lives. They aren't saving road lives like that. So, making a bunch of traffic on a junction to have a dragnet roadblock to give every 2 cars a ticket isn't stopping an accident on the highway. That's not preventing accidents on the highway. Don't let them fool you. One has nothing to do with the other. Lawyer claims police fabricated death threat linked to Raji Ali case. Lawyers representing alleged gang leader Raji Ali have accused the police of fabricating a purported death threat against them. Attorney Karen Ramkalawan of Juris X Chambers made the allegation in a press release issued a short while ago. Ramkalawan claimed that last week he was visited by officers assigned to the Special Intelligence Unit who informed him that they had received intelligence over an alleged threat to his life originating from Ali. Based on this interaction, it was suggested that I reconsider my professional engagement in this matter and take security measures for my protection, Ramkalawan said. Denying the claim of the death threat, Ramkalawan noted that he and his colleague were retained to represent Ali in a legal challenge over a decision to transfer him from the maximum security prison in Aruka to the Tetran barracks in Chaguaramas as part of the ongoing SOE. I wish to state in clear terms that the information disseminated publicly by the senior police official and the commissioner of police that Raji Ali has threatened his attorneys from a military base is false and misleading, he said. This is some sketchy stuff. Because I keep asking myself that in multiple areas, because I don't know all the goings on beyond the curtain. I don't know. I'm just a guy reading out here, minding my business and reading the news. I don't know. But I find when they talk about the gang war in the East-West corridor in Port of Spain and environs, they call 2 numbers. But then when it comes to police action and police raids and police activity, it seems like it all goes at 1 number only. I don't know. That's just how it seems to me. I don't know. Then every time this government comes in, it seems like they have a special issue with this guy from Karapo. I don't know what the guy is involved in, but apparently he has been in prison for the last decade. Is he still that much of a shot caller in the gang world? I don't know. But in the news, when they're talking about violent crime perpetrated by gangs over the last 10 years, his gang, whatever their name is, hasn't been in the news. So if they've been active, they haven't been too showy about their actions. So I don't know. But apparently, this government sees this guy as a numero uno kind of threat. according to this administration, this guy seems to be the biggest of big fish. And then, if there seems to be a particular kind of friction with a particular group, it makes it more fishy when things come out that seem to be lies. Why would you lie, apparently, allegedly? Why would you lie to get rid of his lawyer? Why? Otis, sir. Yes, he was Fire Flame. Yes, he was. There were connections. But the man has been in prison has been in jail for a while. And it seems like someone wants to put him under the jail. I don't know. Like, I'm sure there are criminals out there where we don't hear about their name all the time. Of course, that's true. But many of the gangs in Trinidad, the news reports their name. We know about Resistance Gang and some Arman something, and Resistance was battling down somewhere in that St. Augustine, Tunapunari. I'm talking about things on the papers. I'm not talking about things I go down on the block anyway and hear nobody. In the papers, big and bold, 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 9 is Muslim and ABG, anybody gets it. These are things you're hearing in the news and reading in the Who is this man crew? A Karapo Mosque. When last you hear plenty action down in Karapo? I mean, I don't live that side, but is that still where all the moving and shaking occurs in Trinidad? I'm just, listen, I don't know. I just find it curious. As a guy reading the news, you know, it's like, a joke I used to do a lot more at one point. I'm not the math springer, but if you're doing maths, and you know, it's like you have a sum, and something is missing from the sum. They tell you 2x plus 3 equals ... and then you see another answer. You're like, I think something missing in this sum. I don't know what's missing, but something feels like it's missing. Matter against 2 cops dismissed after 5 years. 5 years after 2 senior police officers were charged with conspiring to pervert the course of public justice, they were acquitted on Thursday. Inspector Rajesh Gokul and Sergeant Ken Ali walked free after Shigona's magistrate Senara Toon upheld a no-case submission from their attorneys. They were charged by Acting Corporal Kelvin Marcano. During the preliminary inquiry, state attorneys prosecuted while they were represented. The prosecution tendered witnesses. It was alleged that on November 8, 2019, a party of officers headed by Gokul and including Ali found a firearm, ammunition, and marijuana at a family's home in Karapi, Chima. Good place. The police also took possession of a DVR connected to CCTV cameras on the premises. However, the family claimed they were set up by the police. They were, however, charged with the offenses. Gokul subsequently submitted a DVR to the police cybercrimes unit for analysis, but the DVR was not the one that had been seized from the house. The DVR taken from the house in Karapichaima was never found. The charge against Ali and Gokul alleged that on a day unknown between November 8 and 15, 2019, they conspired to conceal or destroy Hinkson DVR, which was evidence in the case against the family. At the close of the prosecution's case, the defense attorneys argued that the prosecution failed to present a prima facie case. Ratiram submitted that the evidence showed that Gokul had innocently submitted the wrong DVR, and there was no evidence of any conspiracy between him and Ali to submit the wrong DVR. I mean, in terms of proving, how do you prove that the man knowingly submitted the wrong DVR? It was a oops. Now, for me, I would have assumed that these things are, maybe I watch too much TV. I feel it's too much TV. I feel it's the TV lying to me. I watch too much CSI and NCIS and thing. I would have assumed that there is a chain of evidence there that these things aren't handled willy-nilly. So you pick up a DVR, you're supposed to label it, bag it off, put it in some kind of evidence collection, something. And it's supposed to have a record of who had it, where, when, how. And it's not just that it was lost. It's not just that it was lost. Another one popped up. So who the other one belonged to? Where he get the other one from? And why can't they find the original? Because if it was just that, you know, you had them in the same evidence container in the police building number, and you grab the wrong one from the evidence container, well, you're supposed to go back in the evidence container and at least find the original one. But how you have the wrong one and the right one cannot be found? What? Hey, Ali, let me off right here. Drive, let me off. Driver taking it short. Drive. Right here, drive. Thanks. I good. Reach home safe. Hey, this is not a real place. It is not a real place. That's why they say it's not a real place. But still, return our artifacts to the not a real place. Well, about the money, he done get the money in a runny. In 2020, Gokul had sued the state and was subsequently awarded $100,000 in damages for false imprisonment. This is before the man case even called. He had contended that the police kept him in custody for an unreasonably long period while investigating him for the missing DVR. So he done eaten food already. Listen, Trinidad, too sweet. We too sweet. Return our slave artifacts. Mr. White Man from Canada. A call has been made for the return of colonial era artifacts unearthed on the site of the Lopino Historical Complex. The call came from curator and CEO of the Lopino Tourism Association and co-director of the Caribbean Freedom Project. They claim that a North American-based archaeologist who dug up the artifacts on the estate, took them to Canada where he resides. Fergus also expressed that the government should step in since the artifacts were taken without proper permission. Their comments came on Friday while speaking at the Lopino Historical Complex about the recent discovery of artifacts that shed light on the area's history of slavery and indigenous habitation prior to the colonial era. So, a big man finds some stuff down in Lopino. He brought it across with him for a couple of years. Then he said, I don't think you all have the proper facilities to handle this. Poof, and he go on with it. Internal affairs all over police, it's about having integrity. I think part of the issue, yes, it's about having integrity, but part of the issue with the police investigating police business is the batch problem in Trinidad and Tobago. That kind of gang group feeling. So even members of the PSB have a batch. I don't think that should be. Not that you don't have a batch, but we don't want that. We don't want that kind of level of loyalty, no. I don't think we want that. Personally, that's to me, my personal view. I think if you give people power and then give them protection of their compatriots, then it's no surprise where it all goes. It should be a separate line for investigating police. I kind of agree with that. Like I don't even mind if it's as it were an antagonistic institution, so that they work in nearly conflict with each other. I don't mind that, because even if you have another institution to investigate the police, it's not like the investigators do the prosecution. Either way, it goes to the DPP. So either way, I think that should be the what is done. Because the problem with the investigation part, is that the investigation has parts like acquiring evidence. And acquiring evidence is the kind of thing, even if after the fact I recognize that you were in favor of the accused, if you spoil the case is already spoiled, and there's nothing that could be done to undo that. So I am kind of in agreement with that the investigators of police shouldn't be the police. I could agree with that. But it's in the better interest of corrupt officials to allow police to do whatever police do. So it's all a full cycle. It's why they say, it's regularly said, a violent society is evidence of a corrupt leadership. Why? Because a violent society is evidence of police, law enforcement that is inept or not doing their job properly. And law enforcement that is inept or not doing their job properly is almost always because senior leadership, governance, those in charge of them don't want them to do their job properly. Policing is a problem that has been solved already. The science of doing it is already known. It's not rocket science, it's not impossible. People already know how to decrease crime. People already know how to fight crime, how to investigate murders, how to lock down areas. These things are known already. The reason they aren't done is because somebody doesn't want them done. And if I don't want the police looking too seriously at what I'm doing on this side, I wouldn't look too seriously at what the police is doing on that side. of course. When PC asked for more authority to investigate an arrest, it was denied. And I'm not surprised, because who would want to change the status quo? Listen, very active, diligent police with integrity would start arresting many politicians. This is a very corrupt country, you know. This is a very corrupt country. Prostitution is illegal. Illegal immigration is illegal. And we have illegal immigrant prostitutes running prostitution houses and rings, feet away from police stations. Basically neighbors to police stations with illegal immigrant brothels, human trafficked women, sometimes girls even, doing illegal activities, sometimes with the police, right next to the police stations. But somebody is making a lot of money doing that. And if I'm making a lot of money and I'm somewhere higher up in the society, I don't want the police to do anything about that, because I don't want them to stop my money from running. But if I'm somewhere in the society where I could, as it were, put the squeeze on the police about the drug block that they're running on the corner of X and Y, am I really going to harass the police about the drug block that Officer XY is running when I know the police turn a blind eye to the brothels that I'm running? I'm not going to bother the police about that. We don't bother each other. If you catch a bandit scallywag running up and down the road or something, shoot him and make a scene out of that or anything. But don't touch my money and I don't touch your money. And the world keeps spinning. And Trinidad keeps sinking. Alright people, that's all I have for now. It was nice being back. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the Mindful Live. I hope you are educated, informed, or entertained. I am Nathan Spring. I'll see you guys again for the next Mindful Live show tomorrow around that 9:30 p.m. time. Until then people, hold it down. Stay good, stay well, stay inside, outside sketchy. Go and marry somebody, child, and make some good picnics out there. We need more people in this world. Be a blessing. Laters people, I'm out. Peace. Bye.